Welcome back to the Virgo channel. My name is Laura, and I'm going to do a general message for you all. Know that energy is fluid, so roles can be reversed. Just flip it, switch it, twist it. Just interpret the message as it best resonates for you. Never force anything. Okay, now if you're new to the channel, anything of any importance you can find in the description box below. You can also find my Patreon links that will lead you to my shadow healing coaching program. I have one for $7.99. I have one for $9.99. All my coaching programs do come with psychic readings as well. What we do is we look at the karmic issues and the spiritual imbalances, and then we see how what's going on in your situation and how your situation is playing out due to those spiritual issues, those spiritual blocks. And then we integrate by quantum jumping into the reality that you want to create for yourself. Now, does that mean that if you're with someone that's in balance, that you can make them change? If it's a karmic relationship, you can, but it's not through being nicer to them and giving them, it's through changing yourself. So we see that spiritual relationships, they come into our life to impact our life, to make us change. So yes, they can, but it depends on what we do. Everything that we do has, and that has an outcome, right? For every action, there's a reaction. So, depending on what you do is what the karma is going to look like. So, when we're dealing with spiritual imbalances within ourselves, they show up as money issues and relationship issues. This is why we would want to be able to shape shift our reality. Why we would want to heal? Because over time, when we keep reliving the same karmic experiences, which is what happens when you have a spiritual wound, you keep reliving the same type of undesirable life experiences that keep you stuck in a limited perception of yourself. That creates detachment and disassociation after a while. And then we draw people to us that we have, we hold a cognitive dissonance to. There's a part of us that wants to be with them, but then we don't want to be with them. And understand, if we don't know who we are, that's always going to be what happens. So this channel is all about healing. And yes, being able to create the life that you want to create. But if we have suffered from trauma, it's not as easy as just becoming aware. So my coaching program includes breath work, meditation, EFT practice, and a lot more, again, benefits to joining the coaching program. So, and you could get, readings also to see what is going to happen in your life. But obviously, if there's issues within your life, why you would want to heal your life. And a lot of times, this is why we tune in to listen to readings. We want to know, are we going to be okay in our situation? Are we going to get the outcome that we want? Understanding, if a situation unfolds within your life, it's supposed to happen in your life, and there's many different realities to how it can play out. So 9 times out of 10, 8 times out of 10, maybe even, all right, maybe if I'm going to be modest, I'll say 7 times out of 10, if a situation comes into your life, you could actually get the outcome that you want, depending on what you do. There are incidences like divine intervention and a few others, but a lot of times we can create the experiences that we want. Okay, now without further ado, let's jump right on in. And by the way, if you like this video and you want to enter into winning a free reading with me, all you have to do is do 3 things. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and write the word, today's word is going to be cruel, in your description box. Those three things gets you right into entering into winning a free psychic reading with me. You'll know if I chose you, if I wrote the word winner underneath your comment. If I did, we'll correspond back and forth here on YouTube. And don't worry about having to find the link on that day, which again, the day we'll both figure out that day that works best for the both of us. But you won't have to worry about where to find the link, because I will post the link right underneath our comments, right on the YouTube channel that you and I are corresponding on. Okay, I'd like to put that out there because a lot of people lately, they're always nervous that they're not going to be able to find the link. So don't worry about it. I always also like to start the reading off using my deck, the Psychic Soul Healer deck. Now, if you're not a Virgo and you're another zodiac placement, you definitely want to check out my Psychic Soul Healer channel. However, if you are a Virgo or you're a cross watcher, you know, this is your reading. It's intended for you. But if you're not a Virgo and you resonate with it, well, that happens also because, again, it's spiritual energy. So cruel, the first word out. So when I pull that card, I feel many different things and I see many different things. And the first thing that came to me is that you're attached to someone that isn't nice to you. Second is that you have a wound where people come into your life and they're not nice. They don't tend to be respectful of your needs. They don't seem to care about that. And that seems to be a recurring theme within your life. This is what I'm feeling. And understand, a lot of times we are also not nice to ourselves. We're cruel to ourselves because of what's happening. So again, if someone that we're attached to that is a soulmate or is somebody that we have feelings for, and they're supposed to have feelings for us too, and they're not nice to us, then it winds up making us question ourselves. And especially if we grew up in an environment like that, and there has been certain people around us that were supposed to be of importance to us. Understand, this is how a wound is created. A wound is created out of a perception. Again, many different realities can play out, all due to your perception. So this is a perception. Now, cruel could come across as mean, but it could also come across as someone that ignores you, that refuses to acknowledge the things that you do, like refuses to compliment you, refuses to give you credit, someone that, and if this is a relationship, someone that's acting more in competition with you than someone that would be like a soulmate. So sometimes we can have friends like that have this energy that tend to be more in competition, where they can't clap for you because of the state that they're in. And we could also be attached to someone. So on a grander level, a lot of times these situations play out because, again, someone of some significance in our life, many times in our childhood, we perceived as being cruel because they didn't give us what we needed. Omniscience is that spiritual energy that connects us to everything and everyone. So I feel like people thought, you know, they thought that they know who you are because you're a highly sensitive person. They, again, you may show your feelings, wear your heart on your sleeve. You connect very well to people because you care that much. Your depth is real. Most people are surface. And so sometimes the challenge is that you want to change, you want to harden, but really spirit says don't. Self-observation, which obviously happens, obviously, like all these things make us look at ourselves is our point. That brings it back to us when we're looking at the spiritual energy. So again, if something or if a situation unfolds within your life that has a certain energy to it, and it creates a certain karmic theme, you have to ask yourself how you relate to that, because your healing is there. but without self-observation, you wouldn't find it. So you may say, well, again, I keep attracting people to me that aren't nice to me. I also feel for some of you Virgos that you had people in your life that were not nice to you, and you're at the point now where you're letting them out of your life, that you're not having it anymore. And why? Because again, there's a sense of self-observation, seeing what it is that you allow, and whatever is not in alignment, you're getting rid of. Like it's again, that you're letting go of, I should say. That's a nicer way to say it, when you're letting go of people. But to be honest with you, I feel as if the people that you're letting go of weren't nice to you. But it was all for a reason, because again, here at my channels here and on my Psychic Soul Healer channel, it's all about looking at the wounds, looking at the karmic themes, looking at the patterns and the habits and the behaviorisms that come from that, in order to heal, transmute, transcend into higher states of consciousness, to obtain a place of unconditional love where we feel whole, so we can attract who and what is actually supposed to be in our life, what is supposed to be in alignment. And obviously someone that is so opposite her energy is like, needs to go, especially this energy is like just heavy energy. So this is the energy that's influencing your where you are. That again, maybe just in a place of changing, like, and in this changing of you, it's, changing, like, some of the people in your life, obviously, but there's always a space between what you sow and what you reap. So, these people are leaving out of your life because you're on a high vibration, you're moving into a higher vibration. And so anything that wasn't in alignment with you, but understand, anything that wasn't in alignment with you is going to get triggered by you, because everyone's supposed to be on this place of unconditional love. Again, any place that, like I said, we're really having a relationship with ourselves. Everybody that comes into our life, it has an element of ourselves. Basically, they can trigger us. They're awakening something within us. Okay. So self-righteous. I believe that, like I said, this person that was cruel, they always made it like you were judging them, but they were really judging you the whole time. And then they were treating you the way that they were judging you. And like I said, I feel like by you maybe trying to set boundaries, trying to explain to this person what you needed, if you had a connection to them at some point in your life. And I believe also telling other people your needs. Like I said, I don't believe that this energy was just one person. It's almost like as you evolve, there's a lot of people leaving your life. And sometimes people come into our lives for a day, sometimes it's a season, sometimes it's a lifetime. And the reason why is because, again, they're self-righteous. And in them being that way, that used to work in keeping you in a place of feeling small. And I feel like a lot of your friends, the people that are leaving your life, they kind of knew this, and they tried to do the same thing. And this is, again, being like cruel. And it really it backfired on them, because what it did was made you look at yourself and say, well, I can't get these people to change because they're self-righteous. They don't think that they need to change. So how am I going to change myself? And in that, it's really, you release yourself. Again, haunted. And now, like I said, like some of the people are like suffering. They feel haunted. They feel haunted because part of them were reliant on you, relying on how you were going to help them. They felt like you were so nice and that you cared so much, and you had that you would never hurt them, that you would always be there. And I'm feeling like, yes, there is a soulmate here, but I'm feeling actually more like this is a story about just friends, people. And so again, doesn't sometimes people come into our life and they do influence us more than a love relationship. And it's because again, there maybe again you have intimacy issues. So you rely mainly on your friends. So they did mainly to thought that it was safer. And in the end, what happened is the same thing happened because it was a karmic thing that you needed to experience in order to change, because you were thinking, well, maybe it's just with men or women, whatever. Maybe it's just with the opposite sex. Maybe it's just with people that I date. Maybe it's just this. Maybe it's just that. When Spirit's saying, no, that is a reoccurring theme where if people are bullying you and not respecting you and not being nice to you, like it's because you're not setting the appropriate boundaries. And that's what you had to do. But now these people are haunted, and it's haunted because they know what they did. So they really have no way to come back into your life unless they're going to apologize, unless they're going to do something different. And again, if people were self-righteous, again, they have to really like humble themselves, and that would require them allowing you to see how they really perceive you. So it's again, and this is more about their healing than it is yours, aside from the fact that that them making you look at yourself to see what you're deserving of, whether or not you could. We wouldn't know, unfortunately, that this is a hard lesson, because if we didn't care about the people that kind of betrayed us, we wouldn't learn. So that's really what it is. So let's look at the past life, because obviously if this person came into your life and you're evolved out and they're still haunted by it, what was the karmic lesson? Even if it was just, we already know what it was for you. Again, it was to look, but what may be karmic lesson? What karmic tie from a past life? Maybe that can help us. A lot of times when we do past life regression, this is why we go into past life regression. We see what was the karma that was brought into this lifetime to make this situation unfold within your life. Unrequited love. So it's again just an unequal love, the depth of love, I would say. So sometimes people come into our lives and they're just not capable of giving the depth of love. Like here, I feel like, again, you were light, and this person was cruel. They knew that other people did the same thing. They knew how to press your buttons. They knew how to manipulate. They thought that you were going to just fall into pattern, and you didn't. And so in that, now they're haunted now, and they're mainly also haunted because I have to look at their life and kind of figure it out. Part of them was reliant on the fact that you would play small, stay small, not look at yourself, not change anything, but you've changed. Knighthood. So it's again in this, I feel like unrequited love and knighthood, I would say almost like you protecting yourself. I also feel like knights, I always tend to, I know in the tarot they're action takers, but I also feel like there's a coldness to them. There's like in this contents, so we're saying like unrequited love, and someone that's on guard, someone that needs healing, because again, they're fearful about their own life. They question their own life. Remember, people only need to elevate themselves and put themselves in a situation to make other people perceive them a certain way. That's the way that a mask works, right? A mask is not the true self. So when a person is wearing a mask, they are going to come across as someone that's self-righteous and cruel, someone that's acting like they're better than you, someone that's, again, shading things, manipulating things. And like I said, for some of you, this could have been a relationship. I felt like for some of you, it was straight across the board, that it was just a continuing karmic theme, and you're seeing it within certain friends and a certain karmic relationship, and that you decided to change and they're haunted by it. So, what do they feel now? Because I know that it's, aside from haunted, what is anyone going to do about it? Or what are we supposed to do about it? So let's look at the hidden truth about you and the person that you're connected to, that's connected to you. Maybe you're not connected to them, or you're connected to them, both vice versa, but they're showing up in your reading. Let's see what their hidden truths are, because they're not showing that they care. Again, this person tries to make you feel like they didn't care. And that's exactly what you felt. And that's why it was also cruel. And that's with friends also. But with the hidden truth, it's usually about relationships. So let's look at the karmic relationship first and see how what they feel down deep inside. It was my fault, but I blamed you. Right, again, trying to keep you small. So they see what they did. They're haunted by that. But they had to put a wedge in, because, again, getting too close, it was scary. I wish I could share my good news with you. I feel like this person, again, is changing. But they're changing mainly because, again, they're haunted, they're bothered, they see what they did, that they showed you no love. See, and I only say that because a person that's saying, I blamed you, but it was really me, it means that they thought about the situation. They stuck around long enough to think about the situation. I'm afraid to contact you, of course, because they didn't treat you right. So they're still kind of in their ego. I think they never really took the time to get to know you as well as they should have. And so they obviously don't know how you're going to react. They're basing on how you're going to react to how other people have reacted from them acting this way. I believe that this person, like, again, is kind of stuck in what they did. They feel bad. It's time for me to heal now. So they know that in order for them to come towards you, they need to raise their vibration. I'm afraid of losing you. Water underneath the bridge. They're hoping that you feel that it's water underneath the bridge. They need to raise their vibration. They have a lot of unhealthy habits and behaviorisms, which is why they wanted to keep you in a place of not feeling really that good about themselves, right? Again, when we don't have the best character, when we're living not from our truth, not our true self, where we always tend to form unhealthy habits, because anything that's making us detach from ourselves, not feel good about ourselves, we can't stay in that state for long periods of time. So over time, you're going to want to do something to change your energy. Unconsciously, we do this. This is when we overshop, we overeat, we do things. It's a form of escapism because it doesn't feel good to be in our body. And I feel like this is what your person did. So again, part of them was reliant to you. They're hoping that maybe you'll feel like it's water underneath the bridge, but they see that you're not coming back to them. So they really are afraid of, losing you, but you inspire them. You inspire them in so many ways. And they know, again, they need to, the childhood wounds are what's really influencing their actions and what they have done. So again, they know that it's time to heal. Do they know that they need to heal childhood wounds? No, I don't think that they know. I think that they're on their healing path. So inevitably, the relationship with you has made them look at themselves. Destined connection, but they feel like, again, that this is a soul's connection. And I say that because they stopped long enough to, again, get affected by this connection. It was them that was cruel. It was them that tried to keep you in a place of seeing yourself as not worthy. Again, so that you would give them, so that they wouldn't have to give you. And this is, again, what has reoccurred within your life. This is the karmic pattern that you never saw. You're seeing it within your soulmate, and I'm sure we'll see it also within your connections with those old friends that are leaving your life. But this is why they're afraid to contact you. But they feel it's a destined connection. They don't want to let it go. They know that they were unemotionally available, but they really want a second chance. That's where they are. Your friends, let's see where they are. Because, like I said, we can have soulmate friends that come back and say they're sorry. Again, where they take responsibility for their actions. They can. And sometimes they won't, because again, it's a relationship, and sometimes people don't value a relationship as much as they value a intimate relationship. They don't value a friendship the way that they would a love romantic relationship, is what I'm trying to get at. And they should, but it's that people can tend to sit in their ego. I don't know. And other factors could also be in play, but let's see whether or not, such as like if they're connected to somebody that's controlling, if they're out of balance themselves. But let's see, the world, all is well. That's what that card is, and 7 of Wands reversed. So again, and then we got 6 of Pentacles, generosity. So what it looks like to me is that your friends are going to act like everything's fine without you. But as I said, I felt like there was a lot of people that were reliant on you for things. And then the 7 of Wands is that they're not doing very well. 7 of Wands is usually like, we're coping, we're dealing with it. That's when it's upright. But when it's reversed, it's like we're obviously not dealing with it. And then 6 of Pentacles is generosity. Like they're hoping that you'll give to them. Like you won't stay as mad. That, they're also a little still in their ego. I'm not going to lie, because they're like, maybe you'll be kind to us, but I don't see them. Like I see them like not really coming back to like do anything except for, again, hope. But then Knight of Wands is breakthrough. So it's like I feel like if their life gets really like bad, because I feel like they were really reliant on you, they too may be coming back and be asking for your generosity, for help. Like again, they may need to humble themselves. So remember, we have soulmates from all different ways, all different, whether it's a love romantic relationship, whether it's friends, whether it's, again, people that come into our life, anyone that comes into our life that affects our life. And we have free will to choose whether or not they want to be, like, whether we want them to stay in our life. and obviously how we deal with the situation. So in this situation, in this particular story, it's like you walked away and everyone is like kind of like fucked in the like fucked up from it, and there's no other way to say it except for that. They're like shocked, mad, upset, like want to wear a mask and pretend that everything's fine, self-righteous, the feeling all these different emotions, which is why I use the word fucked up, because it's like they're just all over the place because they never expected you to do it, but you had to do it. Because at this point, like I said, a lot of these people in your life are part of your soul family. Soul family means, again, karmic from past life, again, coming into the life. Now, does this mean, again, that you have to have all these people in your life? No. They're hoping that you're going to be generous. They're hoping because that's your nature. That's also what got you into this problem to begin with. Remember that. Your generosity. So how does the universe expect us to heal with this or deal with this situation? Give us some advice, because it's, again, you may say, well, I don't want any of them in a life, but a lot of times we do. So for the ones that do want in a life, because we'll pull for, again, for those that don't want it, how do we move past it? For those that do, how do we? Again, we can quantum jump. Depends on your reality. What do you want out of this situation? How do you want this to play out? Let's see. What does the universe tell us to do? I want the universe deck. I want the universe deck. I want the healing deck. And I want the moon deck. Again, I want it from 3 different perspectives. That's why. 3 different types of energy. Okay, how do we deal with this situation? How do we deal with this situation straight across the board? For everybody. From the friends, from the karmic relationship. When I think I've surrendered, I surrender more. So again, get to a place of unconditional love. Again, surrendering is not needing to know what's right, what's wrong, what did happen, what didn't happen. Surrendering is to kind of like let go. And does that mean to let go and be foolish? No, it means to, again, we surrender and we don't have any preconceived notions about how these people are going to act if they come back into our life. Because it's not up to them how they're going to treat us. It's really up to us. And I believe when you change the dynamic in a relationship, if people were disrespecting you and they weren't treating you well, this is what you would need to do. And when they would come back into your life, if you were angry, well, then they would meet you again with resistance and anger and hurt, because there's still emotion there straight across the board from everybody. So understand, when you surrender to what is, it's like, yeah, this is what is. But understand, I came into these people's life as, a conduit almost for spirit to speak. And that was through me mirroring what they needed to, heal, what my light shadowed through onto their shadow. And of course, they didn't like it. I surrender to what is, because it was a spiritual experience that it doesn't logically make sense. It doesn't logically make sense, the fact that we have people in our lives that are supposed to love us and then don't, or friends that are supposed to act like friends and then don't, or a soul's connection that feels like home but then doesn't act like home. So we have to, again, not try to wrap our head around it. We have to surrender to what is, because we have to realize that it was a spiritual block, and that it's more about now you're going to have the opportunity to play it differently. Will you confront these people with love, or will you like confront them with resistance. Now, again, this doesn't mean invite them back into your home 7 days a week, and go back to the way that it was. Obviously, the way that it was didn't work, got you into this situation. So, like I said, so we have to surrender. Oneness is my true nature, and get back to like your place of unconditional love, because like that's the high vibration that you need to vibrate at is unconditional love. So you're always pulling that to you. You have to meet everything with unconditional love. Now that might mean like to meet somebody and say, hey, like I love you, I care about you, no, but I release you, or I care about this person, I'm going to let them in my life, but as an acquaintance or as a friend or with some sort of boundary with your rules. And if you don't trust the person, it's with a little and then a lot. So, and that they have to build themselves up to a lot or however much you want. So that's one way, but the spirit is saying you have to deal with the person again, always through love. Otherwise, again, the person is also coming into your life to heal, and they are through the fact that you're making them. And that you're making them is because they still have feeling towards you. You affected their life. And that would be where your healing comes into play. Like, oh, look, I matter. Again, how do we heal? We get to see a different perception of our situation depending on what we do. And so understand, a lot of times when people have shown us the same type of karmic energy of like being cruel, well, we're ready to like see what we look for over time, and we're ready to like just end it before a person even has a place to ask for forgiveness or to like win their way back. So the relationship just completely gets tossed aside, even if it was 10 years old, if it was 5 years old, if it was however many years old, just goes out the window because the person again needed to humble themselves. They needed to change. They were coming from this big ego, please, but that's from their own lack, their own limitation. So the voice of the heart. I silence the fear in me and discover the voice of my heart. The fruit of these words guides me. I trust the song of my soul. My intuition leads me on the path of light. So again, saying, well, that these relationships were important relationships, regardless of how people were playing out. It was mainly you were teaching them unconsciously through giving too much, caring too much for these people, and never making them give you or do anything or reciprocate the energy, which is why it felt like unrequited love straight across the board, when really it was the fact that you were continually giving. So they never had to. And we unconsciously tend to overgive when we haven't gotten enough ourselves. And so we tend to give ourselves away. But understand, you don't know what you got till it's gone. And that's with friends, that's with lovers, that's with anybody when you're a good person. And these people are haunted. So, but Spirit is saying is like, but nevertheless, it's like, this is your lesson with them. And your lesson was you were overgave, but it's also about forgiveness. It's also about meeting this energy when these people come back with, I believe, like kindness, but balance and boundaries, where it's again, you're different, which forces you to get a different result from people. Release. I stopped fighting my fears and the hardships of life. I control my thoughts, live in the present moment, and accept each stage of life. I work on what I have power over and put into God's hands what I can't change. I trust that everything will work out for the best. So it's again, it's releasing the need to control, which a lot of times when people have hurt us, that's what we want to do. We want to control. And we'll do that by, again, like having very rigid beliefs. that works a lot of times if we don't want to have the people in our lives, or if we don't want to live the experience. But what happens when you want to live the experience, or you want those people in your life? Can you forgive? How can you forgive? And really, Spirit's saying you can, but you have to again get back to a place of trusting within yourself and changing who you are, and realizing again why the situation played out to begin with. What did you need to learn? And by ultimately learning that and doing what you need to do, you will always change the situation. And what you learn too is, even though you change the situation and you're not giving as much, that now the people that are in your life, that they always loved you, but now they're showing you. Now you're even out the energy by making them give, by making them question, by making them see that you will not be treated that way. By turning the tables. Again, a personal issue reaches resolution. And that's because, again, there is unconditional love straight across the board. And that's why, and I have to honestly feel that. I think that a lot of times when we get in our ego and we're fearful and we're in that moment, and that could be for any reason, right? Again, if we have friends that we're doing better than our friend, we could trigger them. It's more about them than it is about us. However, the fact that we're affected, Spirit's saying, well, what did you need to learn about this? And what it was, oh, well, I feel really hurt that they feel that way. And what Spirit is saying was like, well, why is that? And you're like, well, I did came from my heart, but it was what you realized is the fact that, again, you overgave. And hold your vision, and where it's, again, the visions that you have for yourself. If you continually imagine that the situation is going to be bad, the situation will be bad. We see what we look for. So it's like if you were with a person that cheated on you one time, you would continue to look to every single person that you dated to cheat on you. It's like out of fear. It's like an unconscious protective mechanism. It's like, I can't help it. I don't trust this person. That's why, again, when we're in a relationship with someone that we don't trust, a lot of times life is even more difficult because we're continually dealing with that stress. So, like I said, you definitely don't want to do that. You want to focus again on the heart, if that is what you're looking for, and the personal issues will resolve themselves, because love is really what makes people change. It's why soul relationships actually are. We wouldn't learn, we wouldn't evolve into higher states of consciousness, we wouldn't want to humble ourselves. Why? It's again what we have to go through these processes. So I hope that you enjoyed that, Virgo. If you did, let me know. Give me a like, comment again the word in your description box. I want to say the word was cruel again, and subscribe to the channel. Those three things gets you automatically into winning a free reading with me. And I'll see you next time around. Bye.